Today I'll be taking you through Google Stadia. I'll be testing its capabilities, trying it out on Twitch, and telling you why I think this just isn't a finished product. Welcome back to another episode of STU'S Reviews. Stadia is Google's cloud-based game streaming platform. Now, for those that don't know what that is, it's basically like Netflix. You tune on to Netflix, you might watch an episode of, say, The Tiger King, and that streams it from Netflix's servers down to your devices. Well, Google Stadia is very much the exact same thing, but for gaming. There are numerous advantages to cloud-based game streaming. Firstly, you don't have to buy a super expensive computer because that is all done server-side. And then any upgrades are also done server-side. So rather than buying a really expensive machine and that going out of fashion within 2 weeks and a new graphics card come out, Google will constantly update their machines so that they have the latest and greatest tech. So that's something that's a huge benefit, and it may end up saving you money in the long run. I'll talk more about the cost of things in a bit, but the second advantage is that you can pick up your games on pretty much any device that you go to that's supported. So let's say you're on a phone, you can play your games on a phone. Or let's say you're on a computer, you can play it on a computer. Or a TV, you play it on the TV. You're not restricted by this great big bulky console or a bulky computer. You can literally chop and change between everything and play the same game and have hopefully a similar experience across everything. And I love the idea of cloud gaming. I've always liked that idea. The idea you can just pick up something and that's it. There's your stuff ready to go. And I've tried this sort of thing before. I tried Shadow a few years back, which some of you might remember.
Something I've always noticed about greenhouses as well. They always look like derelict, don't they? Even around other people's houses, they look neglected.
We're not here to talk about the greenhouse. That's a little bit different to Stadia because Shadow actually gives you a full PC in the cloud, which means you can install pretty much anything you want via the internet onto your virtual computer. But if you want to see that review, I'll leave that in the description. Hopefully that explains what Google Stadia is for those that didn't know already. But for now, let's dive in to a test. Now, I'm currently playing this on an iMac, running it through Google Chrome. Now, Stadia specifically works in Google Chrome. You can use other devices for it, such as phones, but there's a very, very, very small list of supported devices. I mean, you'd think something like an iPhone 11 Pro, which is, an up-to-date phone, would be supported, but no, it's not. It's a very, very small list of supported devices. So, if you are thinking about using this on the go, on your phone, double check the compatibility. In terms of latency between what I'm doing with the controller and the character on the screen, there is very, very little, pretty much to no latency at all, except now. For whatever reason, it decided to lag just then. I don't know if you can see that, but that happens very rarely. Most of the time, it's very, very responsive, to the point where actually I'm quite impressed with it. You'd almost not notice you're streaming the game, it's that responsive. Very, very occasionally though, you do get little bits of lag like that. I mean, I'm running on a relatively average internet speed of 50 meg. Yeah, I know there's people out there who are probably laughing right now who run 200 meg internet, but that's fine. I live in the middle of nowhere, so 50 meg is pretty good for me. It's a respectable amount, but I would definitely go as far to say as that you forget you're streaming when it comes to the latency between what you're doing and the response on the screen. The picture, however, is another story. It quite clearly is a streamed picture. I mean, if we just look at this image here, you can see the trees are a little bit fuzzy. Everything isn't quite tack sharp that you would get playing the game natively. It's not a huge issue, but it's noticeable. And I'm running this currently at a 4K stream. Now, Google do say that Stadia adapts to your internet connection. So if you're running Stadia Pro and you're streaming at 4K but your internet connection can't handle it at certain points, it will drop the quality down. I'm currently not suffering any lack or throttle of speed, so it should be coming through in full 4K. So this pretty much is what you're going to get at its best. Obviously I'm recording this through software, so there's going to be a little bit of a drop in quality through that as well, bear in mind. I think what I'm seeing is probably slightly better quality than what you'll be seeing on YouTube. You can manually change the quality of this stream between 4K, 1080 and 720p, dependent on your internet. So if you've got pretty slow internet, I'd advise you change that to 720p or 1080 if it can handle it. But also another kind of consideration is that if you have limits on your internet, so some people still have a limited amount of internet, could be on your phone for example, and if that is the case, obviously I would drop the quality so it doesn't use as much of your data up. What's really strange though is you can't change the quality through Google Chrome. There's just no way of doing it. You go into the settings and it looks like this. It just says it's not available there, which is mad. To me, that makes no sense at all. Instead, you have to log onto the app on your phone, which isn't supported, and change the settings that way. It's bizarre. Very, very strange. And I guess that setting is rather redundant, because why would you want to change your setting if Google Stadia automatically changes it for you based on your internet speed? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Like I said, I think the only reason why you'd want to change it is so that you don't use up all your data. Earlier this week, I did a bit of live testing to test out a scenario that some people might have. Let's say you're a Twitch streamer and you want to stream the game that you're playing. I wanted to find out how well it would work, essentially bringing the stream down from Google servers, streaming back up to Twitch. I wanted to know whether or not that's going to be suitable and if it worked, and this is how it looked. As you can see, the quality of the Twitch stream was significantly downgraded. It's definitely viewable. However, at some points it did look like I was streaming using a potato when the internet dipped. But bear in mind, you are watching a game that was streamed down from Google up to Twitch, then re-downloaded from Twitch, edited and re-uploaded to YouTube. And it suffers a big drop in quality because of this. If you want to see the full live test that I did, it is still over on Twitch, so I'll leave a link in the description below so you can go and check that out yourselves as well if you want to see a more in-depth kind of look at how that went over about 2 hours. One thing I found out during the stream is a nifty little feature actually. When you disconnect from a game, let's say your internet drops out, when you rejoin or have access to the internet again, it automatically joins you back in at the point you dropped out, like this. Oh, the quality is poor, the lag is terrible. Oh my god!
Zone A captured. That's a power play.
Oh.
You took them, now hold them.
Well, look at that. Oh, Jesus. Oh, well. That was fun while it lasted. Let me... Well, I'm going to say it was a fair experience. Let's skip that survey. Let's go back in. My internet is absolutely fine, so I don't know what they're talking about. I reckon that is probably because I'm streaming at the same time as trying to connect to other people and play online stuff. Oh, I'm back. I'm back. Can I respawn? Ah, all right. Okay, well, I can jump straight back in. That's positive. So that is a nifty little feature that Stadia has. Now, imagine putting that scenario at home. If your console or computer disconnected from the internet, you'd be immediately booted from the game. Whereas this, obviously, is relying on the connection that Google has. So you can just rejoin the server and then you're essentially back in the game without having lost that connection. So actually, that's quite a good feature for things like multiplayer games. Although specifically on the multiplayer point, there was a little bit of an issue with Stadia in terms of connectivity on PvP. Now, I was playing Destiny at this point, which is 6v6, I think there's 12 people. The connectivity was definitely worse during PvP than it was solo. And another thing that I found is that matchmaking took forever. For whatever reason, I don't know the reason being. That could be that there aren't that many users of Stadia at this moment. Let's talk the cost of Stadia. Now, this is where it gets a little bit confusing. It's kind of hard to work out exactly what they offer. First package they offer is £119. That gives you access to what they call Stadia Pro, which I'll go into in a second, but it also gives you access to a controller, Stadia branded controller, and a Chromecast, which means that you can play it on your television. It's important to note you can use your own controllers with Stadia. I was using the DualShock 4, which worked absolutely fine, and pretty much map the buttons automatically the same way it does on a PlayStation. So it was really, really nice and dead easy for me to jump from Destiny on the PlayStation to Destiny on Stadia. Now, Stadia Pro is a subscription package. Obviously, you've got the 3 months that come with the Premier Edition, but you can subscribe to Stadia Pro without having to buy the controller and the Chromecast, and that costs $8.99 a month. This works similar-ish to PlayStation Plus. At this moment in April 2020, you only get 9 games included in that package, which isn't a great deal, especially at $8.99 a month, but it also gives the ability to stream 4K footage from Google's service, whereas the standard package, which is completely free, doesn't cost you anything, is only available to stream 1080p. Now, that free package isn't yet available at the time of doing this review, April 2020. They just say it's coming soon. I'd imagine it's going to come very, very soon, and I'll tell you why at the very end. But ultimately, they're the 3 options that you have available. Now, the free service doesn't mean you get free games. The games in Stadia cost money, very much like normal games do. And this is where the costing starts to get way out of proportion in my eyes. Now, Stadia only has about 28 games outside of the Stadia Pro subscription. So you've got 9 games from the Stadia Pro, which are available to everyone to buy, and then you've got 28 more games. Now, this is obviously, like I said, in April 2020. They have said there's going to be a lot more added, but this is all there is so far. So there is a very, very slim pickings. Now, looking closer at these games, they cost a fortune. Look at Assassin's Creed Odyssey, for example. That's $54.99. Okay, fine. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was $54.99 new when it came out. I don't have a problem with that. That's not a problem. However, now it's been out for, what, over a year? A year? I don't know. It's been out for a long, long, long time. You could walk into any second-hand game shop and pick that up for £22. Like CEX, for example. So you're paying a hell of a lot more to buy that game on Stadia. But it's not just that. If you walk into CEX and buy Assassin's Creed second-hand, you actually get a physical copy. Now, we all know that the replayability of Assassin's Creed is very, very, very minimal, and there's only a few people that would bother to spend the time going back through the game. You'll want to trade this in when you're done. So you walk back into CEX, and they'll give you £14 for it, which means you'll only pay £8 for Assassin's Creed Odyssey to play it for however long you play it for. Whereas on Stadia, you can't trade it back in. You pay £55 and that's it. And if Google ever do decide to shutter their doors on Stadia and close the service, you'll lose access to that game, I'm assuming now. Which, to me, sums up Google Stadia, really. It's really, really expensive. All of the games on there are that sort of price, £45, £55, for games that are quite old. Even things like Tomb Raider, which came out many, 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 many years ago, that's about £20 on there. I just don't get why they think pricing the games at that price point is going to be suitable. And also, the selection of games are so minimal. For me, I just feel like Stadia wasn't ready to go live. They could have waited another year, made sure that they had some great agreements with a bunch of different game developers, and brought out a full, wonderful package service. Yes, okay, they've announced they're bringing more games to Stadia and stuff like that, but is it worth it right now for $8.99 a month? I'm not 100% convinced. Although, at the moment, Stadia Pro is free for 2 months. So, don't take my word for it. You know, I might not like it, you might love it. All I'd say is absolutely free for 2 months. That gives you 9 games to play with. Go and have a look. I'll leave a link in the description below. Make your own mind up. And when you've made your mind up about Stadia, I want to hear your thoughts on it as well. So let me know in the comments below. But other than that, that is my conclusion of Google Stadia. It's a good product, works really, really well, but it's just too expensive and there are not enough games for it. A massive thanks to all my current patrons. You guys are incredible and I couldn't do STU'S reviews without you. I know I say it every episode, and every episode I mean it even more than the last. But that's enough from me. If you want to join us over on Twitch, we're doing another live stream on Friday nights. until the end of lockdown, pretty much. So if you want to come and have a chat with me over a whiskey, join me on Twitch on Friday night at 8:30 BST, which is British summertime. I got that wrong in the last one, I said GMT. But other than that, if you liked today's video, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll see you back for another episode of STU'S Reviews soon. Timer, thank you. I am the prettiest girl on Twitch, and you know it. You know it. Definitely. Is it? Am I what they call a thought? As you can tell, I am absolutely 100% down with the kids and all these terminologies. I'm sure as I spend more time on Twitch, I'll learn them.